Okay, so here we go. We're now recording part 2, which is going to be much larger than part 1. All right, so next thing we need to do in our UITableView, in our UI view controller, UITableView delegate data source guy, in the view did load, we need to say table view. You always get the B and A backwards. Table view dot delegate equals self, and table view dot data source equals self. Yeah, it's a weird night. I don't know if it's Halloween or what's going on.
I was typing and it just and then it went down away. Like,
A little bit of apple funshine.
As my friend would say, when in doubt, blame me.
Yeah, I know better though. They don't have anything to do with it
Neither did I.
because we had to set up everything.
Okay, that messed me up. I didn't name mine the same as yours.
Didn't what was it you didn't name?
I named it TBL.
Oh, that's fine.
So when I was writing table view, it didn't come up.
Oh yeah. Nope, it won't find it, but you know what you have to change, so that's the good part. I'll wait a minute until Kristen gets her Xcode to come back up.
This is just weird.
I'm there.
You're there? Okay. Wow, that's pretty fast actually.
It came up pretty quickly after, and then it told me that it unexpectedly quit after I had already pulled it back up.
Oh, by the way.
Do you want to ignore this? Well, let's ignore it because I already pulled it up.
Thanks for that. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to create an array. So here is the explanation for the name of the app. We're going to create an array of trees. So it's going to be an array of strings. And we can go ahead and initialize that. I'll try and alphabetize this somewhat, but let's see. I already screwed up.
Yeah. That's what.
That's what. Let's see what else we have. Cherry. I could put dogwood, but I don't even have no clue what that's even like. We'll go with local tree. Yeah, oak is fine. I forgot maple.
You also forgot hickory. Good smoking.
Yeah.
Elm. Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys who are, you know, have your own favorite trees. That's fine. You can go ahead and put them in there. You don't have to copy what I got. Poplar. Let's see. Red pine. Oops.
Doesn't matter how many we put in.
No. White pine. Right.
I need a weeping willow.
You put a weeping willow. That's good. That's a good one. I like weeping willows. All right, so there's our tree array. Then down here where it says number of rows and sections, so the rows refer to each item, each row item in the list or the table. So instead of 0, we're going to turn trees.count. That's how many rows we're going to have. So each row will have one of these guys in it. Bless you. Then down here, the number of sections can remain the same. We're going to have one section. Down here, we need to change the blank UITableViewCell. Get rid of that. What we'll want to do, we're going to define a string up here. This will be a const string. Let call it cell ident and we'll call it tree cell. So this is going to be an identifier. So when you create table view cells, so I should back up a little bit. At the highest level, you got the view controller. Inside that, we have the table view. Here's the table view. And then inside the table view, although you don't see them right now, are UITableView cells. So those rows, each row is a UITableView cell. So going back to our code in here, we have to create, each time it goes through, for each one of the visible rows on the screen, it's going to ask for a cell. And so we need to create a UITableView cell. So how you do that is you have what's called a cell identifier. This guy right here is kind of like an ID that says it kind of identifies the type of cell. So if you wanted to, and we'll do this later on in class, not tonight, but later on, you can create customized table view cells, kind of like you saw on the settings list. You had different style of cells. Some had pictures, some didn't. Some had switches in them. Those are all customized UITableView cells. So we could have like 4 or 5 different kinds up here defined. And then down here in our code, we could create one of those different kinds of cells based on, by just creating a different cell identifier. All right, so for this guy, what we're going to do is say let cell equal table view. Now here's the magic part, DQ reusable cell with identifier. That's what we want. The identifier in this case is this guy up here, cell ident. Now what that tells the operating system is basically it's reusing cells. So once a table view cell has been created, we want to reuse it. So for efficiency purposes, so like if you have a table view with like 1,000 rows in it, you don't want to have to recreate a cell every single time. It'd be really expensive memory-wise. You go into the megabytes of RAM that are used just to create your table view cells. So rather than do that, what this does is it says if you've got like 10 cells that are visible on the screen, it's only going to create 10 actual cells, and then as you scroll, it's going to pull ones off of the top, off of the stack, and reuse them. So they're reusable. That's what this DQ reusable cell is all about. Now, that will work fine as long as they've already been created. If it's the first time through, this guy is probably going to be null. So then we have to check that and say if cell equals nil, sorry, don't want to make that mistake again. If cell is equal to nil, so it hasn't been created yet, then we have to do the work of creating it. So we say cell equals UITableViewCell, and we want that guy right there, the style and the reuse identifier. The style will be .default, and the reuse identifier is going to be the cell ident that we created. Okay, that way we are guaranteed that we have a table view cell. Oh yeah, it needs to be a var instead of a let. And then now that we know we have a cell, we can say cell dot text label, so that's the main label that you see on it, dot text is going to be equal to one of our trees, and then this guy here, index path, basically is an index into the row, the current row. So we go, this is kind of like in the picker view, we had something similar. Index path dot row gets us the specific row that we're on. And then we can just say return cell.
Trying to figure out. Oh, no.
And we have a little bullseye guy here. We need an exclamation point after cell. Make the compiler happy.
me a second here.
Okay.
So it's cell question mark dot text label.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and run this because it's probably going to take a while for it to start. Okay, so once it's up, you guys should have something kind of similar to this with your list of trees.
I'm still getting an error, but I'll just catch up later.
Where are you getting the error?
It's in your if cell equals nil, or it's underneath that. Says cannot assign to.
I gotta change it to a bar. Back to dash, change this to a bar.
Oh,
Instead of a
no.
line.
Right. Everyone else got theirs to run okay?
Yep.
Okay. And then if you click on them, it should select it with a gray bar. It should scroll. So a table view by default is a scrolling view. So you can move it up and down. And you can also see what the boundaries are of the table view, because you can see where the bottom is, where if you press and drag like you're scrolling, you can see the rows disappear. So that means that our constraints are working correctly. We've got the right height, we've got the right offset from the top, everything looks good. So we're totally zen here with our table view. I am going to change the background color to kind of offset that a little bit more. And of course, I'm going to use the ugly green color. But that will give you a really clear delineation of where your table view stops and where your view starts. Xcode closed again.
Yeah, except it told me this, it's coming up fairly quickly, but it told me this time ahead of time that,
It had stopped.
Reopen it, yeah.
Didn't wait for you to reopen it before it told you that it stopped.
Like the color rush uniform's gone wrong.
What's that?
It's like a terrible green, the color rush uniform's gone wrong.
I think green uniforms in general are just terrible. Just bad color for uniforms.
You picked it.
Green and yellow, even worse combination. All right, so that's what I should do. I should make my background on my table view controller or my table view yellow. All right, so we have a basic list of trees. Not real exciting, but it's a start. So the next thing I want to do to make it a little bit classier is put images in these rows. Now we're not going to take the time to find images for each one of these tree types, but I'm just going to get one generic tree image just to plop it in there so you can see how you create an image in there. So to do that,
Should we have had space on the right and left of our table?
If you are running it in an iPhone 6 simulator, yes. If you're in a 5, then you probably won't. On a 5, that 320 pixels will probably go out to the edge.
Check in.
Let's see. So let's see. Tree,
So we can-
and welcome images. Here we've got some nice. That guy's kind of cool.
Are we supposed to be finding one too? Or-
Yeah, find a tree picture that you like. There you go. Tree clip art. Wow, that's a huge 5,486 pixels. It's like the actual size of a tree. This guy's not bad. See if I can find one without the copyright stuff right on it. All right, there we go. That guy will do. So then I'm going to use grab to capture a chunk of it. I'm not going to. Yep. Grab.
Grab.
Yep, and then I'm going to capture a selection. And I'm just going to grab the tree out of this picture and try and make it pretty square. So you want your image to be as square as possible.
Well, that's awesome. I typed in grab and I went to grab.
You want to grab?
Yeah, I apparently don't know how to type grab either.
You just go up to the spotlight search and type in grab.
Yeah, once
Click
you
on
have
that.
grab up, what do you do?
Once grab is up, you do capture and selection.
Does it have to be like a square?
Close as possible, otherwise it's going to be kind of weird looking.
This is then where you start. Yeah, 'cause you can do it.
All right, so I got a tree selected in my grab, and I'm going to resize it. You probably don't want it to be much bigger than like 80 by 80, otherwise you're going to get this big image and your rows will be really kind of huge. So I'm going to file, save. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a copy of my screen grab, and then I'm going to open up preview, because preview will allow me to save it as a PNG. If you open up preview from your grab that you created, and then you can do, when you're in preview, you can do file, new from clipboard.
When you grab, is it automatically in preview? Right?
Nope,
That-
that's actually grab.
Does
It's
it
not.
take a while for preview to open?
Oh.
Does it what? Preview? No, it should. Well, again, it's one of these weird Apple things where you don't see anything, but you'll get a menu with preview up on it.
Oh, yes.
And then if you do file, new from clipboard, it will go ahead and paste it into a new image file for you.
Got it. Okay.
Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize this guy so he's not so huge. I'm going to go about 80 by 80.
When you saved the picture, or did you not save the picture?
I haven't saved it yet.
Oh.
When I was in grab, I copied it, and then I opened up preview, and I pasted it into preview, and now I'm resizing it.
How do you resize?
If you just go to the tools menu in preview and go adjust size,
Got it.
and I'm going to go about 80 by 80 on mine, 80 by 85, close enough.
Okay.
Now I got this nice little tree. I'm going to close down the grab picture because I don't need it anymore. Just going to get rid of it.
I got to the grab picture, and what's my next step?
Yeah, I'm having a problem pasting it in preview.
Type in.
Yep. Yeah, in preview, go file, new from clipboard. It's a handy little feature that preview has that allows you to just take whatever's on the clipboard, create a new image out of it.
Up in the top now,
How do you
file.
resize it?
Once you got it in preview, you can just go up to tools and adjust size.
Oh, go to edit.
What's ideal?
Anything smaller than about 80 by 80. Because otherwise you get a lot of white space that's just wasted.
Well, you're supposed to have like a,
That's
in preview, it's like notch.
Then once you have it, you can go ahead and save it to your project folder.
New from clipboard. Oh, just click on this. I'm gonna have like this.
Did we have to create a clip art
But you didn't have it.
Yeah, we will. We have to, first you gotta save this guy off. As soon as I figure out where my project is saved. Table app 1.
So now what do we do with, what are you doing with this?
I am saving this guy off.
So file save as,
And you wanna save it as a PNG format.
oh,
And call it whatever you want. I'm gonna cleverly call it tree.
would it be make duplicate instead?
If
Never
it
mind.
says duplicate, you might be in grab.
Save, okay, so I save as tree thing, it's a tree thing. Mine's already as a PNG.
Yep, I think that's the default format.
Where do we want to save it? Do we want to save it in our project, or we gonna have to do icon again?
The closest place to do it is, the easiest way is to put it in your project in the same folder, but, any place where you can get it and drag it from Finder and then drag it over to your project. Nope, don't put it in the assets folder. I would just put it, what I would do is probably create an artwork folder, be a new group,
All right.
or you can, if you've already dragged it over, you can just leave it where it is.
Review isn't working for me.
Yeah, his isn't giving him the option to do new from clipboard. It's weird.
Did he copy it from grab?
Yeah.
Did I edit copy?
Okay. All right, edit. Look at it. Edit. Copy. Okay, then go to tree again. Then go to, yeah, no mouse, does not work.
That's great.
His computer doesn't like to do images, remember?
It doesn't. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and drag this over, and then I'll have to share that with Nate. All right.
Sorry, John.
That's all right. That's something weird with that computer. I'll go ahead and put it in Blackboard for you. Probably be the easiest way to get at it.
So now we need to go into the icon dog thing, right?
No, you don't have to go into Icon Dog. For this, you don't. Yeah, you just drag it into the app and drop it. I put it in that artwork folder. And
I figured out what was wrong with that other project. There was another duplicate controller in there.
oh, there was a duplicate controller.
Yep, so I found two of them, like, I deleted it, and then it made it past that, so.
That's cool. See,
That's
you
the-
solved your problem.
Well, I didn't solve the problem, I just needed to pass that step.
All right, let's see. I'm going to put this.
First down.
Baby steps. Introductory mobile app development. And need to go and add a file item. File. Tree file. Browse my computer. While I'm out here, I suppose I could change the due date of that assignment. Desktop. One tree.
Just because nothing's going right doesn't mean nothing.
Okay, we'll submit that.
I don't know, it's pretty.
Okay, that image file should be out in Blackboard now for you, Nate, called tree image file.
No.
So once you got that guy,
Not today.
we can go ahead and program them in.
Those days, but yes, you have. Exactly. Today's my, what's been like the last 2 weeks? How work my head will be great on those things, and Thursday, things like that.
Okay, so you added the tree file.
Yep, you just drag it into your project. And then once that guy's in there, UITableViewCells have by default several properties. One is this text label, so that guy's always going to be there. It also has an image view property, and we can go ahead and set that guy as well. We can say imageView.image is equal to a UI image
Yes, sir.
named, and the name of our image is tree.png.
Oh, you gotta go from the top. There you go. Right. There you go. There you go.
And that's really all you need to do in order to add images to it.
So is that automatically gonna add the image to the first cell? The first row, I mean?
Yep. Do do do
Whoa.
do 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 do.
How come?
Why the Japanese?
How come you do that?
There's my little tree guy. Got the little tree guy. Life is good for me. I got the little tree guy.
What are you doing? Tree drop. Did you get it from your folder first? So
Has everyone got a little tree guy showing up in their table views now?
Tremendous. Yeah, you're in the project. What did you save it to at least? I didn't. Where's that saved?
Cool.
I can't help this.
Do you have a tree? Do you have a tree guy, Adam? In your table view cells?
Oh, I haven't even thought of see the work. Hold on. Let's check that out.
Now, obviously, if we were going to make this a professional enterprise application, we'd want these to actually match the type of tree, but this is more so just to illustrate how you can put an image in a UITableViewCell than to actually do something. You got them?
How would you get the tree to match those tree type? Would you have to put that in
Just
your
drop it in
array?
like that.
Yeah, you'd probably want to create either an array or an array of dictionaries, and then those would have the dictionary. If you did it like an array of dictionaries, you'd have the tree name. So say if this was an array of dictionaries, it'd look something like this. This would be, the key would be Aspen, and then say you'd have an Aspen, yep, and then you would just pull it right from that array.
Finish.
We will do that in a little bit, probably after break. We'll do that with subtitles. I'm not going to create individual images though, because that'd be way too time consuming, and you guys are here to learn how to program, not do artwork. Although I really think that it's good to have a basic understanding of how to create the icons, how to add images, because that's an important part of app development, but I am not a graphic artist, so it'd be the wrong course to try and teach that, and I'd be the wrong instructor. All right, so anyway, we have that. Another thing that we can do with our table view cells, you notice that, or maybe not, but when I have my phone up, there's a thing called a disclosure indicator, which is a little arrow that basically says, hey, there's more content over here. If you tap on this, you know, I'm going to show you some details or some more information. So that is the cell.accessory type, which is a really long-winded type. It's a UITableViewCell accessory type. So fortunately, we can just type dot, and then it'll bring up the different accessory types. The one that is probably the most common is a disclosure indicator. The disclosure indicator means that it is going to disclose something. It's an indicator, meaning there's a disclosure that if you tap on it, it's going to show you what that is. So if you add that in, that's all you have to do is add that one line of code, and it should put a little gray arrow on the right-hand side of the table view cell. If you've got it in an iPhone 5 simulator, it might not, let's see, might not quite fit. But on the 6, with the 320 pixel wide table view, it shows up. It still isn't going to do anything. The disclosure indicator says, hey, there's more content. If, you know, it's, pardon, it shows up, okay. It just means there's something, if you tap on the cell, there's more content to be seen, which right now is a lie. There isn't any, but we're going to create that right after we take break. So the other stuff we're going to cover tonight is we're going to use the table view. One of the most common things the table view is used for is navigating. In addition to being a list of information that in itself can be useful, it also is often used for navigation. So at the start of class, a few weeks back, when I was here, I mentioned there's several different types of navigation. There is a navigation controller, which is like what you did for the second app, where you've got a view controller embedded in the nav controller, and the nav controller is a bar at the top. There's the tab controller, which is what we did for the third app, where you have little tab buttons. Tonight we're going to cover the other main type of navigation, which is a segue. But we are going to do that after break. So take a 10-minute break and come back and we'll continue on our merry way. And I will stop the recording because it likely will die if I don't.